Hi everyone, Quiveen here from the comfort of my kitchen. In today's video, we are going to be looking at a particular constellation and some deep sky objects within that constellation, a constellation that is becoming particularly prominent at this time of the year. So we're already looking late into January here. This will be even more true as we move later into February. As you can see, the constellations there are continuing to drift across the sky. By mid-February, we have Orion, or late February, we have Orion right there at the south, nice and early in the evening. You know, this is only 7:45 when Orion's already there, nice and clear. But we don't quite want to be at this time of the month because the constellation I want to look at is Leo, and I want to look just at the tail of Leo. And at this point of the month, the moon is very, very close to that, and the moon is not going to help with the deep sky objects that we are trying to look for. So here we are, nice moonless night. At this time of the night, the moon has set in reasonably early February. We've just started the month. And just to be clear on the constellations, before I bring up the images, some constellations already have recognizable features. You know, Orion's belt, of course, is one of the clearest features of Orion. We have that lovely V, the Hyades for Aldebaran. For Leo, we have this hook shape here. It's almost like a question mark or an epiglottal, maybe, if you like the International Phonetic Alphabet. It's that kind of symbol. And that is the sickle. The sickle is an asterism, part of the constellation Leo. Bringing up the lines of the constellations, there's Leo the lion. It takes a little bit of imagination, but they're the haunches of the lion, the front paws of the lion, and its head and mane. So it does kind of look like the profile of a lion lying down. Here are the actual pictures. I don't really love that the legs are included because that extends beyond what we would normally consider the constellations. You can see that the boundary of Leo does extend pretty big in those areas. But each constellation, its boundary needs to completely slot in. It needs to work like a jigsaw puzzle. Every piece of the sky needs to be occupied. So even though this region here isn't part of the picture, it is still part of the boundary of Leo. Same with this portion up here. We have previously, when we were looking at deep sky objects, you can check out my deep sky object video if you'd like to learn more, but we have talked about some of the deep sky objects that are visible out here. Galaxies. There are a lot of galaxies visible in this direction. We'll start here in the city. We'll just zoom in a little bit here towards the tail of Leo. Believe it or not, I think we're already starting to see some galaxies. Starting to see some fuzzy shapes that aren't exactly point-like. They are a little faint, but there's definitely some shapes there that look like fuzzy blobs, not like points. And if we zoom in more, well, there they are. A little bit faint, but there are galaxies. If we look up here, a little bit faint, but there's those smudges. And even if we look into other parts of Leo, there's Regulus, there's Algebra, and there are more galaxies, more of them. So there are quite a few galaxies visible out in this direction. If you're not looking for that's a cluster of stars. If you're not looking for a particular galaxy, if you just want to see a galaxy or galaxies, out in this direction is not a bad direction to look. One of the reasons for that is that we are looking away from the Milky Way. If we move out into the countryside, all of those stars are a lot more visible now, and we can definitely see that milky glow of the outer limb of the Milky Way. So that is the outer limb of the Milky Way. Looking out in this direction, we're looking away from the Milky Way, and we are looking away from the center of the Milky Way, as well as looking out of this army band, arm-like band, rather than the band of an army. If we look into the Milky Way, all we're going to see is Milky Way, and that's lovely. There's some lovely nebulae and clusters of stars there. It's wonderful. But if you're looking for galaxies, you really want to look outside of the Milky Way, unless that's the galaxy you want to see. So zooming in here now in the countryside, flagging Juno already. I do have a video on minor planets and asteroids if you'd like to check that out. Thalia is another minor planet or asteroid in the asteroid belt. But here we go. Here are some galaxies. Lovely big group of galaxies there. And we've got both spiral galaxies and lenticular or globular galaxies as well. Wonderful degrees of variation. More galaxies. There's really, really loads of them. If you're looking for galaxies, this is a packed region of the sky. This is exactly where you should be looking. And we're getting to see there's a spiral galaxy viewed side on. I'd say maybe the Sombrero or Hamburger Galaxy. They do have very funny names. What's this one called? The Needle Galaxy. And indeed, it does kind of look like a needle or a flying saucer galaxy, indeed, a little bit like a flying saucer. In previous videos, we've looked at galaxies that we could see face on, similar, I guess, to this, not quite face on, but we can certainly see the arms of the galaxy there, which is what we're looking for when we look at a galaxy face on. But when we look at a galaxy edge on, not only are we going to see the bulge in the center, but we are also going to see this cloud of dust around the edges, that dust and gas that isn't quite in the center of the galaxy, not quite involved with the formation of stars. There's the Hamburger galaxy, one of the Leo triplets, and you can see it's got those dark bands around the side, and you can see that brighter portion in the center, that nucleus of the galaxy. And as I mentioned in previous videos, it is by looking at these other galaxies. There's the other two Leo triplets, so they are triplets. We see them all together in the sky. It's by looking at these other galaxies that we can get a better idea of how our galaxy looks. We've only seen our galaxy from the inside, so it is by looking at these other galaxies from the outside and comparing them to what we see on the inside of ours. You see a bunch more galaxies there. A couple of them are lenticular or globular galaxies. Yeah, S0, which is one of the big round types of galaxy. So spherical for the S, E1 there for elliptical. There are codes for these various different shapes of galaxies. We have spiral galaxies, barred spiral galaxies. There are various different shapes going on here. And a lot of them are visible in the direction of Leo and Virgo. So if we zoom back out here a little bit, try and zoom in a little bit more. Yeah, we can see these big collections of galaxies here, those kind of tiny little red ellipses. Those are our galaxies. And if we bring back up our constellations, we can see Virgo and Leo there. So it is across this space between Leo and Virgo where we can see a lot of them. There are more up here towards the head of Leo as well. So zooming in around here, I'll get rid of the picture of Leo. It might be getting in the way just a little bit. And we'll see that there are still more galaxies up in this direction. And we can see this one has this lovely picture. This one doesn't. There are a lot of galaxies out there. Not all of them have been imaged in ways that look visually appealing. Not every image of a galaxy is pretty. Some images of galaxies are really just lines on a graph showing variations in brightness. Not all of them are real pretty pictures. Now, here's a really dense region of space. This is moving into Virgo. We've got the Virgo galaxy there, the Markarian chain, the Virgo cluster pinwheel. We have loads and loads of galaxies visible out in this direction, some with absolutely fantastic names. So if we just take a look in here, we've got these lenticular galaxies or elliptical galaxies. Yep, that one's elliptical in E2. We've got these lovely spiral galaxies. Let's zoom in here on the lost galaxy of Copeland. Wonderfully defined spiral arms there. A little bit fuzzy, but we can see that even the extension of the arms, that fuzzy outer line, a lot of that would be some dark dust and gas, which would give us that kind of dark band that we can see on the Needle galaxy and on the Hamburger galaxy. And, zooming in here, M50 must be a bit of an older galaxy. Looks a little bit red, a little bit yellowish. We're not seeing those lovely blue colors that we can often see in younger galaxies. We're seeing the same up here. A lot of these galaxies are a little bit more yellowy, whereas some of the smaller, younger galaxies would look more blue. Part of the reason for this is that blue, the Virgo pinwheel, now that's a nice bluish galaxy. Young stars are often a little bit hotter. As stars age, they often cool down, but stars that start their life out blue generally also have shorter lifespans. So if you see a lot of this blue color, that means there must be a lot of young stars. Some of these stars will age into redness, whereas, well, even the blue stars could age into redness, but they will do it quite quick. If a galaxy is still forming a lot of stars, there will be a lot of stars that are still blue, whereas with older galaxies that are starting to run out of the necessary hydrogen to create new stars, well, then we're going to see more of this reddishy orange color, and that's a sign that the stars in that galaxy are older and it's not producing as many new young stars. The Weaver's Shuttle Galaxy is a fantastic name for this. Silver Streak is fine. We can see that dark band of gas around the edge, but if you've ever seen the shuttle of a loon zipping back and forth between the threads, that actually looks quite like that. Some of these things are named fantastically. Let's have a quick look at the blow dryer galaxy, which absolutely looks like a spiral and not a blow dryer. So some of these galaxies have almost silly names, but it's good to have a sense of humor as well. So we can see lovely rich bluish whites there, and those dark regions, some of that will be dust, some of that will be clouds of hydrogen gas, which the galaxy needs for creating those stars. So that is, I mean, if you see all of these red dots here, that's just a small selection of the galaxies we can see. And in the future, when we try to look for as many of these M numbers as we can, well, we're going to get a lot of them in here, and I will talk about the M numbers, the Messier numbers from the Messier catalog, in a future video. So I hope you stick around for it, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Just taking a look at some of the galaxies that are going to be up at a reasonable time of the night as we move into February. If you enjoyed this video and enjoyed this kind of video, please do like it. And if you really like the video and this content, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel. The more subscribers I get, the more videos I can make, and the more consistently I can produce them, and the longer I can make them as well. I would like to make some longer videos, and I'm going to regardless of whether I get more subscribers, but more subscribers would absolutely help. If you'd like to read a little bit of this information, then you can check out queebeanscontent.ie, where I have a small write-up of all of these videos. And after you've liked and subscribed, I hope that you'll join me next time.